In the ancient city of Babylon, where towering ziggurats pierced the sky and the Euphrates River flowed like a vein of life through the bustling streets, lived a young scribe named Arkad. The year was around 500 BCE, a time when Babylon was the jewel of the world, its hanging gardens a wonder that drew merchants and kings from distant lands. Yet, for Arkad, life was a relentless grind. He toiled from dawn until dusk in the dim light of clay tablet workshops, etching cuneiform scripts onto damped slabs that would harden into records of trade, laws, and histories. His fingers were calloused, his back ached, and his wages, though fair for a man of his station, vanished like morning mist under the Mesopotamian sun. Arkad was not lazy, far from it. He worked harder than most, taking on extra tasks to scribe contracts for wealthy merchants or copy epic tales for the priests. But at the end of each month, when the moon waxed full and payments were due, his pouch was empty. Rent for his modest mud brick home, food from the markets, dates, barley bread, an occasional lamb, clothing mended by his weary wife, and the occasional indulgence in a cup of fermented date wine at the tavern. It all slipped away, leaving him to start anew, trapped in an endless cycle of labor without progress. Why, he often wondered aloud to his friends, do some men amass fortunes while I, who work just as diligently, remain poor? His companions, fellow laborers, a chariot maker named Kabi and a musician called Bansir, shared his plight. They gathered one evening under the shade of a palm tree by the river, watching barges laden with spices and silks glide past. We dream of wealth, Bansir lamented, strumming idly on his lyre, but our dreams fade with the dawn. The gods favor the rich, it seems. Kabi nodded, his hands stained with wood pitch. I've built chariots for nobles who ride in gold-trimmed splendor, yet I walk barefoot. What secret do they hold? Arkad's eyes narrowed with determination. He had heard whispers of a man named Algamish, a moneylender whose wealth rivaled the king's treasury. Algamish was said to have started as a humble farmer but now owned vast herds, lands, and slaves. Perhaps, Arkad suggested, we should seek wisdom from those who have mastered gold. Tomorrow, I will approach Algamish and beg for his counsel. The next day, Arkad rose before the roosters crowed and made his way to the grand estate on the outskirts of the city. The gates were guarded by stern warriors, but Arkad's persistence won him an audience. Algamish, a stout man with a beard like coiled rope and eyes sharp as a falcon's, received him in a courtyard blooming with imported flowers. What brings a scribe to my door? He boomed, his voice echoing off marble columns. Arkad bowed low. Great Algamish, I work tirelessly, yet my gold flees from me. Teach me the path to riches, and I will serve you in return. Algamish chuckled, a deep rumble that shook his ample belly. Bold words, boy. Very well. I need a contract scribed with haste. If you complete it by nightfall, I shall share my first secret. Arkad labored furiously that day, his stylus flying across the clay as he recorded loans and interests. By sunset, the tablet was done, flawless. Algamish inspected it and nodded approvingly. You have earned your lesson. Listen well, a part of all you earn is yours to keep. Pay yourself first. From every 10 coins you receive, set aside 1 for your own purse before paying debts or desires. Arkad blinked in confusion. But master, if I save 1/10, how shall I live? My expenses devour all. Expenses grow to match income, Algamish replied. Trim them. Live on 9/10, and watch your savings grow like a tree from a seed. This is the foundation of wealth, the 1/10 rule. It matters not if you earn little or much, the principle endures. Inspired, Arkad returned home and shared the wisdom with his wife. Together, they vowed to try it. The next payday, when his wages arrived in a small sack of copper and silver coins, Arkad carefully counted out 1/10 and placed it in a hidden clay jar beneath their floor. The rest went to necessities, and though it pinched at first, no more tavern wine, simpler meals, they adjusted. Months passed. Arkad's jar filled slowly, a coin here, a few there. But temptation lurked. One day, a traveling merchant arrived with glittering jewels from Persia. Arkad's wife eyed a necklace of lapis lazuli. Just this once, she pleaded. Arkad wavered, but remembered Algamish's words. No, he said firmly. Our savings are for greater things. Yet, Arkad made his first mistake. Eager to grow his modest hoard, he entrusted it to a brickmaker named Asmur, who promised to buy jewels in Phoenicia and sell them for profit in Babylon. We'll double your money, Asmur boasted. Arkad, naive in investments, handed over his jar. Weeks turned to months. When Asmur returned, his face was ashen. The Phoenicians swindled me, he confessed. They sold me glass beads instead of gems. Your money is lost. Arkad was devastated. He had saved diligently, only to see it vanish. In despair, he sought Algamish again. I followed your advice, yet failed, he admitted. Algamish's eyes twinkled with understanding. Failure is the forge of wisdom. You invested foolishly, without knowledge. Seek advice from those skilled in the craft. Would you ask a baker to build a wall? No. So, consult jewelers for jewels, builders for bricks. This is the second secret: make your gold work for you, but wisely. Humbled, Arkad began anew. He saved another tenth, and this time, approached a shield maker renowned for his trade. Lend my gold to armed soldiers, the man suggested, and earn interest from safe ventures. Arkad agreed, and soon, his savings returned with offspring, interest that added to the principal. As years unfolded, Arkad's wealth grew. He bought a small plot of land, then rented it to farmers. The rents fed back into more investments, loans to merchants, shares in caravans carrying ivory and spices. He learned the wealth tree principle, compound growth. Like a tree branching out, his gold multiplied. The interest earned interest, the profits begot more profits. What started as a single coin became 10, then 100. Word spread of Arkad's transformation. From a struggling scribe, he became a lender himself, his home expanding into a villa with gardens and servants. Kabi and Bansir, seeing his success, begged for his secrets. Arkad invited them and others to his hall, where he shared the parables he had learned. First, he taught, pay yourself first. That 1/10 is the seed of your fortune. Second, control thy expenditures. Desires are endless, budget wisely on the 9/10. Third, make thy gold multiply. Invest in what you understand, or seek expert counsel. Fourth, guard against loss. Avoid schemes that promise quick riches, they often lead to ruin. Fifth, own thy dwelling. Rent enriches others, ownership builds equity. Sixth, ensure a future income. Save for old age, when labor fails. Seventh, increase thy ability to earn. Study, improve skills, become indispensable. The listeners nodded, inspired. One young man asked, but Arkad, how did you rise so high? Arkad smiled. By seeking wisdom from the right people. Algamish taught me, and I built upon it. Multiply your success by learning from masters. Decades later, Arkad stood as the richest man in Babylon. His chariots were gold-plated, his herds numbered in thousands, and kings sought his loans. Yet, he remained humble. Remembering his days of poverty. He endowed schools for scribes, teaching not just writing, but financial wisdom. One evening, as the sun set over the Euphrates, Arkad gathered his grandchildren. Wealth is not in hoarding, he said, but in using it wisely. It buys freedom, security, and the power to help others. And so, the lessons of Babylon echoed through time, proving that anyone, even a poor scribe, could build a fortune with discipline and knowledge. Expanding the lessons, a modern reflection. While Arkad's story is ancient, its principles are timeless. Imagine applying them today. The pay yourself first rule is echoed in modern finance by authors like David Bakken, The Automatic Millionaire. Set up automatic transfers to savings or investments before bills hit. It's effortless compound growth, thanks to interest rates and stock markets. The 1/10 rule. Start small. If you earn $3,000 monthly, save $300. Over time, with 7% annual returns, a conservative stock market average that could grow to over $100,000 in 20 years. Tools like apps track expenses, helping curb impulse buys. Avoiding Arkad's mistake means due diligence. Don't chase crypto hype without research, consult financial advisors or educate via books like Rich Dad Poor Dad. Making money work for you. Passive income streams, rental properties, dividends, or side hustles. Arkad's wealth tree is compound interest. Einstein called it the eighth wonder. Seeking advice. Network with mentors. Join communities, attend seminars. Success multiplies with guidance. The Babylon Challenge. For 90 days, save 10% first. Track progress. Many report reduced stress, growing nest eggs. In essence, Arkad's journey shows wealth isn't luck, it's habit. Start today, and watch your own fortune bloom. Word count. 1248. Wait, that's short. Let me expand further to reach 2000 words. Deeper dive into Arkad's journey. Let us delve deeper into Arkad's transformation, painting a vivid picture of ancient Babylon to immerse in the tale. Babylon was a marvel. Walls so thick chariots raced atop them, gates of bronze gleaming under torchlight. Markets teemed with vendors hawking figs, incense, and slaves from conquered lands. Temples to Marduk rose high, priests chanting hymns as offerings burned. Arkad's early life was typical. Born to a potter, he apprenticed as a scribe at 12, learning to wedge clay and inscribe with reed styluses. By 20, he married, dreaming of a better life. But debts mounted, a loan for his father's funeral, repairs after a flood. His meeting with Algamish was pivotal. The moneylender, once a shepherd, had saved scraps to buy his first goat, then a herd. Wealth starts with saving, he emphasized. Arkad's first savings jar was symbolic, a humble vessel, but it represented discipline. Each coin clinked like a promise. His wife, initially skeptical, adapted by bargaining harder at markets, mending clothes instead of buying new. The loss to Asmar was crushing. Arkad fasted for days, questioning the gods. But it taught resilience. From ashes, new growth, Algamish said. Rebuilding, Arkad studied trades. He shadowed merchants, learning about risks in sea voyages versus land caravans. His first wise investment, lending to a spice trader with a proven route to India. The return, 20% profit. As wealth grew, so did opportunities. He bought slaves, trained them in crafts, and freed them for loyalty, creating partners. His land yielded barley, sold for gold. Socially, Arkad rose. Invited to banquets, he advised nobles. One parable he shared, a fat purse versus lean wisdom. Better wise with little than foolish with much. His friends benefited. Bansir, the musician, saved and invested in instruments, forming a troupe for palaces. Kabi built better chariots, expanding his workshop. Arkad's legacy. He inscribed his lessons on tablets, preserved in the king's library. Centuries later, they inspired Clayson's book. In today's world, parallels abound. Paycheck-to-paycheck living afflicts millions. Inflation erodes savings, debts balloon. But principles hold. Budget apps like Mint enforce the 1/10 rule. Robo-advisors like Vanguard automate investments. Compound growth example. $100 monthly at 5% over 30 years equals $83,000 plus. Powerful. Avoid pitfalls. Scams like Ponzi schemes mirror Asmar's folly. Educate via Khan Academy or Investopedia. Seek mentors. Podcasts like The Dave Ramsey Show offer guidance. The challenge: commit below. What's your first step? This retelling honors Clayson's wisdom, urging action for financial freedom.